Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right.
My AC is working.
Oh, good. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, it was mostly just like Battle of the Bands and EFC stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about the meeting, the leadership meeting. I did talk to the client, didn't I? I did. I'm gonna send out an email.
Just about like cracking down on phones and stuff. Yeah.
I'll send out an email.
I talked to this bunch about that.
Good, sir.
Okay. Alright, just checking to see if there is any further info about the reorder of announcements that was submitted. Yeah, we're reading. I hate that Chip's not gonna be in here today because his part is actually coming up and is very important. Chip doesn't exist. Not to us. It is coffee. No. Can't have my coffee. Sometimes I'm almost afraid of you. Almost. I'm gonna start saying that to you all the time. What is it? Leave in vain your bibble babble? Leave thy vain bibble babble. That's all you ever talk is bibble babble. 12th Night's a really funny play.
Oh, it's funny?
Mm-hmm.
When is senior night again? When is senior night? Okay.
June 11th.
Okay.
It's a Friday before graduation.
I have some friends that would like to break.
Okay.
Possibly 9 of them.
9 of them.
Hopefully.
I don't know if we can have other guests.
It'll just be like a performance type thing. That's why I was asking.
Oh,
We come and like perform.
that would be kind of cool.
It's a step. It's
Yeah, let me talk to Nykirk about that because that would be really fun.
I was trying to do it like last year when we were still at the open. I talked to Darlin and almost set it up.
Yeah.
And then what happened? For what? For my step team to come in and perform. Oh, last one. Like I just wanted to show you like what I.
So they probably have to. We'd have to do that like not right when it starts because they'd all have to get here after they're out of school, right?
Not all of us, but most of my line is college kids now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me talk to Mr. Nykirk about that. I think that'd be really cool.
Hopefully, Francis is here.
Francis is coming to graduation. He's one of you. He's walking across the stage and everything.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I like talked to Nykirk about it. He was like, we should have him participate because like he's like, he's one of us. He's been at Allegra since day one.
It must be so awkward at his boostful because literally he'd be walking with people he has never talked to.
Yeah, I know. That's
He
what.
does not associate with anyone at that school.
Yeah, when I emailed his mom.
Except it's like it's gonna be his mom talking and his dad. And that's it.
I don't know. I wonder.
Everyone will ever know.
Like, I mean, I know you guys still talk to him. Has he like made friends and stuff this year?
At his new school?
Yeah.
Like,
Not really.
No. I think he's made more people he doesn't like.
Classic Franny.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, when I emailed his mom, I was like, I know that he'll have his own ceremony to participate. Yeah, you can have it. But you know, we'd love for him to be there, and I know that some people were gonna invite him
I thought it
anyway.
was just black, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the tassel's green and white and black.
I'm gonna wear that.
You're not wearing that.
Where's mine?
Where's yours? Did I already give it to you, or is it in here?
Oh.
Do you want it?
What?
Well, some people want me to keep it like until graduation so they don't lose it or something. Rice, Corey.
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
So, I think in the email- okay, in the email, it said something about like, I don't know, was it practicing?
Rehearsal.
Rehearsing.
Yeah,
Where is that? Is that the,
it'll be at the music hall.
oh, we're just gonna
At-
rehearse that?
Yeah,
and
at
then,
10 a.m.
Uh,
I took full game this morning.
how much is it?
$2.
No, so like, once we get to, we have to have a cap and gown on, and once we get there, right?
Yeah, you don't have to wear your cap and gown for the rehearsal, but
Not the rehearsal, but like, on the day of graduation, you have to wear your cap and gown in the car to the music hall.
well, you could not wear it there and then just put it on when you get there.
Oh, can you do that?
Yeah, you could. Hello, hello. Yeah, in fact,
Heart's full.
when I graduated from college, the place I had to wait like before we got up on stage was so hot that like everybody waited until the last possible second to put on their cap and gown. But like it shouldn't be that way at the music hall. If y'all have been to the music hall, you know, there's that like upstairs, like above the lobby sort of, and that's where we'll wait until next time.
Can you keep this until the last week of
Yes, I'd be happy to.
never mind, don't do it. You have to say that.
No, it's just that you, I'm
I'm
perfectly happy to keep it. But just like a minute ago, I was like, do you want it? And you were like, yeah, I want it. I'm perfectly happy to keep it. Do you know if you ordered announcements or like a hoodie or anything else other than cap and gown? You did order a hoodie?
Can you use a hoodie?
I mean, it was
That's really weird.
one of the options. It's like senior 2021.
That's weird.
I don't remember anymore. The only reason I'm asking is because some people are having me keep their stuff until all their order comes in. And some people are having me keep them until graduation because they're afraid they'll lose them.
It's gonna be like, yeah, trying to lose it.
I want to do whatever you think is best. I don't want you to feel like I'm keeping it from you, but also if you want me to keep it from you, I will. All right, let me get attendance here. But while I'm getting attendance done, several of you pointed out that there was not a submission button on the assignment from yesterday. I apologize for that. I went, no, a couple people emailed me. If you already emailed it to me, that's totally fine. I'm sure some of you I'm sure some of you probably just didn't do it, but then some of you probably did it, but didn't know how to turn it in. I had it not due until today, so you can still submit it. I went and put a submission button, so it should be good now. All right, Christian, Brendan, no Hayward, Troy, no Eli, but I'm sure he'll show up. Nate, how's your knee doing? Good. Okay, yes. Who's my favorite student? God, no.
In this class.
Does it have to be somebody I teach? Because I love Lucas Cologne. Oh, and there's that new 6th grader. She's so small. Her name's Anna Pearl. She's so cute. I like her a lot.
this small.
Well, she's about that small. And she's like, I eat, I don't know why I don't grow. That is shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, those parents will think they should be in like.
Pre-K.
They're so unbelievable.
They're
The
so,
graders are like-
we have a lot of really tiny ones this year. It is surprising.
It's funny because my little sister, this
How many siblings do you have? That's it? Just the one?
No.
How many siblings do you have?
Well, don't you have a,
4?
guess what, you have her, you have another sister who's like, oh,
three sisters and one brother.
and like,
Are y'all all full siblings, not like
I
half
have two-
siblings?
I have
step
two
siblings?
siblings that are older than me. They're my sister. One teaching. Yeah, and two sisters are equal. One's 11 and one's
What's how old is the oldest one?
24.
Wow. Are y'all all full siblings? Are y'all all full siblings? Not like half siblings or step siblings? Like you have the same mommy and the same dad? What? Yeah, crazy. Oh. Eli, I just wanted to change your attendance and I realized that I marked you present anyway because I assumed that you'd be here. Hi, Mike. Okay, we're gonna start reading in just a minute. A couple of housekeeping things. Again, if you did not turn in the Victorian Journal prompts from yesterday because there wasn't a submission button, there is one now and it's not due until tonight, so you can still turn that in. And I apologize that I didn't put a button. I try to be so careful about those things, but it's so dumb. I just hate Canvas. I hate Canvas so bad. I thought it was something I'd get used to over the course of a year, and I have not. I've never gotten used to it. Yeah, I feel like usually you get used to stuff and you're like, all right, this is not that bad. It's that bad. You have to press a million buttons. Like you have to make sure the module is published and that the assignment is published, that you have a submission button, that you have a due date. It's just like so many things to keep track of. And I doubt it. I wish we would, but I doubt it. Mm-hmm. What?
I thought if you're a gold digger, might as well be like a working for a sugar daddy.
Working for what?
Sugar daddy.
All right, you say that. We can talk about this for just a second. The questions from yesterday, Troy was talking about the gold digger thing. And he was like, if you're a gold digger, you might as well just like have a sugar daddy or something. I will say the most I ever considered getting married was when my ex said, if you married me right now, I could pay off all your student loans. I was like, whew, that is tempting. And like, I don't think I'm a gold digger, but it's nice to have somebody who could take care of you. I'm just saying, you know, you have certain things that you want to look for. And like, I'm a teacher, so I'm probably always going to be a relatively poor person because teachers don't make very much money in this country and particularly in this state. But it would suck to like marry somebody else that is also kind of poor. I think that's okay to say. Oh, the other thing I was going to say was several of you have filled out the Google form about, oh, and here's another one, graduation attendance, how many people you're going to be bringing, and where's Kenzie's name? Here she is.
like about decorating at home, but I'm not thinking about using all those 10 tickets. It's still 5 person.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. If you can have 10 people, you might want to bring 10. But, you know, like, here's one person who said they're bringing 9. So, like, I guess they only have 9 people that they. Yeah. And I mean, you know, if Ian wanted to invite 12 people, but Troy only wanted to invite 8, he could potentially, you know, negotiate. Huh? You can invite 10. You can't invite 11 unless you get someone else's ticket because of the reduced capacity at the music hall. Honestly, I think even 10 is a little bit high, but Mr. Nykirk did the math and I trust him with math more than I trust me. So, and like all the performers are only bringing they're only allowed to bring like 2 people. Like there's like a small advanced choir doing the national anthem and alma mater, and they're only allowed to bring 2 people each. So
Yeah, that's not gonna, honestly, it's not gonna be much people because our class is so small.
it is.
If everyone uses their tickets, it's gonna be like.
If everybody used their tickets, that'd be 220 people. And I think the capacity is 280. So I really do think we're pushing it a little bit. Because we'll like separate families a little bit. And like have teachers kind of be ushers so that there's a few seats between each family. And then the other thing was the form about cookout preferences. I'm not going to stress out if I don't have everybody's response on that because I know, I mean, I hope this doesn't come out sexist. There's 3 girls in your graduating class and 19 boys. And in my experience, most teenage boys will eat whatever is put in front of them. So the real reason for you to fill out that form in particular is if you have any kind of dietary restrictions, if you have a nut allergy or dairy allergy, or if you're vegetarian. I don't think anybody in your class is vegetarian. I hope not. But you could choose to be. I wouldn't be able to live, I don't think. I don't think I could do it.
You know what's funny? My grandma asked, how many people were in my graduate class?
I mean, genuinely, Salisbury steak? Don't worry about it. We're not gonna grill a Salisbury steak. I don't think you even can. But I don't know, because Mr. Nykirk was like, let's see if they would prefer like hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, what? And then he was like, what if I do like surf and turf, like steak and shrimp and maybe get some ribs? I was like, you're going wild here, but do it. Like, I feel like this is lower.
I know where they can cook like that.
I feel like yeah, I want it higher. I don't think he doesn't care sometimes, but like he wants y'all to have nice things, which I like about him. Sorry, I'm like readjusting my little stand. Oh my gosh, when we had that lobster food truck the other day, that was so good. What? I mean, yeah, like thank God thank God you don't have 400 people. Yeah, exactly. It's not that bad. Although, you know, I FaceTimed with my family the other day for Mother's Day. This is not sturdy. Look at this. What's going on? I FaceTimed with my parents on Mother's Day, and I was talking with them about graduation. And my mom asked how many of you there were, and I said 22, and she was like, "Oh, that's big for Allegra." Like, yeah, it is. You're just that special. I mean, the first graduating class was 16. The second was 11. Y'all are 22. This is not like I can't be bothered about this, but it's not even. It's very frustrating to me.
I literally got most school like last two 12 grades.
You forgot everyone
Most people.
that's not in your grade?
Yeah. No. Most people that are like I felt most school older.
Oh, are you a baby?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you turned 18 already, right?
Yeah.
Is everybody in here 18?
Yeah. I've got names most people that
Oh. Okay, so we're gonna start Act 2, and we'll read Act 2 today and Thursday. And I still don't quite know if we'll get through all of it. I think Act 2 is probably the longest, but we'll see. And I feel very confident that we'll get through Act 3 week after next. Or sorry, next week. I don't know what I'm saying. However, Chip is supposed to be reading Miss Prism, and he is on Battle of the Bands prep duty. So I need somebody else to read Miss Prism today. Christian, you'll do it? All right, Christian's gonna do it. Okay, and I'm reading Cecily. So just to like recap where we left off, Ernest / Jack had like said his address in the country, and privately Algernon was like, oh, let me write this down and I'm gonna go to his house, and like we don't know what he's gonna do. Jack had been planning to get rid of the Ernest character. Algernon sort of wants to get rid of Bunbury, but he finds him very convenient. But one of the reasons that Jack wanted to get rid of Ernest, his brother, was because Cecily, who is his ward, is kind of interested in Ernest, who doesn't exist. So that's kind of awkward for sure. So Miss Prism is essentially like a governess, kind of like someone said, like, isn't that what Jane Eyre was? And like pretty much, yeah. So they probably all live together at this country house. So this is the garden at Manor House. A flight of gray stone steps leads up to the house. The garden, an old-fashioned one full of roses. Time of year, July. Basket chairs and a table covered with books are set under a large yew tree. I feel like this would be very difficult to actually put on as a play because that's a lot of set. Miss Prism is discovered seated at the table. Cecily is at the back watering flowers. I'll make this big. What? Say it again. Okay, perfect. I just can't hear you. The mask is so, I'm so tired of wearing masks because I always have to be like, huh? Come again? Say it another time. It's very annoying. All right, Miss Prism, go for it. Cecily.
Cecily.
Utilitarian.
Occupation as the water that flowers is rather molten student than yours, especially at a moment where
Intellectual.
pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray open it at page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson.
But I don't like German. It isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well that I look quite plain after my German lesson.
Child, you know how anxious your guardian is that you should improve yourself in every way. He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. Indeed, he always lays stress on your German when he is leaving town.
Dear Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he is so serious that I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian enjoys the best of health and is happy to Your Honor, is especially to be commended and one so are
Comparatively.
Young as he is, I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility.
I suppose that's why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I'm surprised at you. Miss Worthing has many troubles in his life. Ideal, murmuring, and
Triviality.
would be out of place in his conversation. You must remember his constant anxiety about the unfortunate young man he's from.
Meaning Ernest, by the way, who does not exist. Do you need something? What?
Next week, folks, right? This week.
Yes, next week is progress reports. We have to have, or maybe this week we have to have our grades in by midnight on Wednesday. So,
Okay, so,
I got a lot of catching up to do.
so, stuff I did last week.
Yeah, if it's something you can still turn in, yeah. I'll just turn it in and see if they'll take it. Oh yeah, so she's talking about Ernest, who doesn't exist. Sorry, let me see this chat. Oh, okay. I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometimes. We might have a good influence over him, Miss Prism. I'm sure you certainly would. You know, German and geology and things of that kind influence a man very much.
I don't think that even can produce any effect on a character that according to his own brother's admission, is
Irretrievably.
I am not sure that I would desire to claim her. I am not in favor of this martyrdom or turning back to business at a moment's notice. As a man's soul sours,
So
so let him read. You must put away your diary concealing. I really don't see why you should keep the diary at all.
So one thing I wanted to point out before we keep reading is that that Eli has an Uncle Jack, first of all, who probably exists, and that Cecily is young. I think they said she's 18, and she's very like kind of frivolous. Like, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but she was like, I don't want to do my German lesson because it's very boring and I feel like I'm less cute after I do it, because it just like drags me down. But she wants to like bring Ernest there so that they can help him like become a better person. And Miss Prism is not on board for that. I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Susie, is the diary that we all carry about with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that have never happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe that memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels that Moody sends us. I don't know who that is.
Do not speak silently of the 3-volume novel, Susie. I wrote one myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was your novel ever published?
Alas, no, the manuscript unfortunately was abandoned. I use the word in the sense of lost or misled to your work. Child, these speculations are profitable.
But I see your dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden.
Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure.
Oh shoot, you are supposed to be reading Dr. Chasuble also. I think we can do it.
And how are we this morning? You are, I trust, well.
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a short stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Seeley, I have not mentioned anything about a headache.
No, dear Miss Prism, I know that, but I felt instinctively that you had a headache. Indeed, I was thinking about that and not about my German lesson when the rector came in.
I hope, Seeley, you are not
Inattentive. Oh, I'm afraid I am.
That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's people, I would hang upon her lips. I spoke metaphorically.
Oh, sorry.
My metaphor was drawn from ease. Amen. Mr. Worthing, I suppose, has nothing returned from town yet.
They should check him for COVID. I also just want to point out, this is like almost flirting between the priest and the governess, just where he's like, if I were fortunate enough to be her student, I would hang upon her lips. Of course, I mean that like metaphorically. I don't mean I would actually like do anything to her lips. You know. We do not oh, that's not me. That's you.
We did not expect him till Monday afternoon. Yes, he usually likes to spend his Sunday in London. He is not one of those whose sole aim is enjoyment, as by all accounts. That's unfortunate, young man. His brother seems to be happy, but I must not disturb Greensleaf and her school any longer. My name is
Letitia.
Letitia Doctor. A classic allusion merely drawn from that pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evening sun.
Yeah, which is like a kind of like a prayer they do in the evening. So he's like pretty into her, it seems.
I think, dear doctor, I will have a stroll with. I found I have a headache after all, and a walk might do a thing. With pleasure, Mr. President, with pleasure. We might go as far as school and back. That would be delightful. See, you will read your political economy in my absence. The chapter on the fall of the you made on it. It is somewhat too sensational. Even these metabolic problems have their melodramatic side.
She goes down in the garden with Dr. Chasuble. Horrid political economy, horrid geography, horrid German. And here comes Merriman. Eli, that's you, the butler.
Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He has brought his luggage with him.
Mr. Ernest Worthing before the Albany W. Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Mr. Worthing was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were in the garden. He said he was anxious to speak with you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come here. I suppose you had better talk to the housekeeper about a room for him.
Yes, miss.
I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he'll look just like everyone else. So Algernon has come and is pretending to be Ernest, Jack's brother, Jack, who also pretends to be Ernest sometimes. It's very confusing. And Cecily has heard a lot about him and basically heard that he's like kind of a bad boy. Like he's always getting into scrapes and stuff. And she's like, oh, that's terrifying. I love it. So she's kind of into it and is looking forward to meeting him because she feels like he's going to be new and different and like less prim and proper than the people she knows. And so Algernon comes in. Algernon, he does look just like everyone else. Algernon? You are under some strange mistake. I am not little. In fact, I believe I am more than unusually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cecily. You, I see from your card, are Uncle Jack's brother. My cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest.
Oh, I'm not really.
If you're not, then you've certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. I hope you've not been leading a double life, pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time. That would be hypocrisy.
Oh, of course
I'm glad to hear it. I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I'm sure it must have been very pleasant. I can't understand how you're here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon. Couldn't you miss it anywhere but in London? Well, I know, of course, how important it is not to keep a business engagement if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life, but still, I think you'd better wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to talk about your immigrating. You're emigrating. He's gone up to buy your outfit. Yes, Troy? Yes, go ahead. Before we keep going, first of all, they're not really cousins. I just wanted to point that out because there is some like flirtatiousness going on between them. She's not actually related to them at all, but she calls Jack her Uncle Jack because she lives with him and he takes care of her and stuff. And if Ernest / Algernon is his brother, which he's not, she would call him cousin. She's not actually related to any of them and they're not related to each other. So the whole thing is a little convoluted, but that, and what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, that once she tells him that Uncle Jack's not going to be back until Monday afternoon, he's like, oh shoot, I have to be gone by then, which he really doesn't. He doesn't really have business appointments and stuff, but whatever he's up to at Jack's country house, he doesn't want Jack to find out about. So you're immigrating. Sorry, he has gone up to buy your outfit. I don't think you will require neckties. Uncle is sending you to Australia.
Australia,
It's dramatic. Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you would have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia. That's actually a funny line too, what she just said about Australia, because he's kind of trying to make it seem like, or Jack is kind of trying to make it seem like his brother Ernest is this good for nothing guy, and like he's always having to get him out of scrapes, and he's basically like, you either have to straighten up, I'm gonna kill you, or I'll send you to Australia. It's kind of funny. Yes, but are you good enough for it? I'm afraid I have no time this afternoon. It is rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try. Quixotic is like, has to do with like fantasy and like making stuff up and just like kind of living in a dream world. It's based on the story of Don Quixote, who like thought, if I remember right, it's been a long time since I've read it, he was just like a dude, but he thought he was like a great fighter and soldier, because he was just like messed up in the head. I think I might be telling you the wrong thing, but quixotic basically means like romantic and fanciful.
I will. I feel better already.
You're looking a little worse. How thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in? A Maréchal meal. I don't know what this is.
No,
Why? I don't think it can be right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me. Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare. Oh, I don't think I would care to catch a sensible man. I shouldn't know what to talk to him about. All right, both of your characters are coming back, Christian.
You are too much alone, Dr. Chevrolet. You should get married. I can understand a woman throat never.
That's not a real word, by the way. Misanthrope is someone who like hates people, basically, like doesn't want anything to do with people. So I guess a womanthrope would be like someone that doesn't want anything to do with women. So she's like, she's telling him that he should get married.
Believe me, I do not deserve so that.
Neologistic. New word.
The percepts as well as the
The
practice of the primary church, which was distinctly against
matrimony, marriage.
There is obviously the reason why the primary church has not lasted up to the present day. And you do not seem to realize, dear doctor, that by consistently remaining single, a man converts himself into a hermit public temptation. Men should be more careful. This is very
Celibacy.
Celibacy leads weakened vessels astray.
So I just wanted to point out two things. Number one, we know that during this time period, people are really concerned with being like prim and proper and like morally upright and sexually pure. And he's a priest, so he is, and he just said that like typically when you're like when he got into the priesthood, priests didn't get married, and here she is telling him that he should be married. And this is another one of those little like funny little contradictions, because she's like, oh, well, one of the reasons that the church has changed so much is because priests haven't been allowed to marry. And you don't seem to realize that if you stay single, you're going to constantly be tempted. So you should get married so that you're not tempted to like have sex with anybody, basically. And he says men should be more careful because if you abstain, remain celibate, you'll be more likely to be tempted. It's one of those things that like the logic doesn't really check out, but it's kind of funny.
But is a man not equally attractive when married? No, married man is ever attractive except to his wife. And often I've been told not even to her. That depends on the
Intellectual
sympathies of the woman.
maturity.
Maturity can always be dependent on ripeness, can be trusted. Young women are green. I spoke
Horticulturally, having to do with plants.
my metaphor was drawn from fruits, but where is seeding? Chaseable, perhaps she followed us to the school.
All right, so Jack has not been expected, but he shows up coming from the back of the garden. He's dressed in mourning with a crepe hat band and black gloves. And don't forget, he said he was going to kill off his brother Ernest, but Ernest has shown up at the house. So we're going to deal with some confusion here.
Miss Worthing, this is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon.
Just two characters.
I have returned sooner than I expected, Dr. Chasuble. I hope you are well.
Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of
Whoa.
woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother?
More shameful debts and
Extravagance.
Still leading his life of pleasure.
Dead.
Your brother Ernest dead.
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it. Mr. Worthing, I offer you my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing that you were always the most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the inn?
No, he died abroad, in Paris, in fact. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
Was the cause of death mentioned?
A severe chill, it seems.
As a man sows, so shall he reap. Charity, dear Miss Prism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself am particularly susceptible to drops. Will the interment take place here?
Like, will he be buried here?
No, he seemed to have expressed a desire to be buried in Paris.
In Paris, I fear that hardly points to any very serious state of mind at the last. You would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to tragic domestic affiliation next Sunday. My sermon on the meaning of the manian in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyfully or as in the present case. Distressing, I have preached and I have marked celebrations, christenings, confirmations, and days of humiliation and festival days. The last time I delivered it was in the cathedral as a charity sermon on behalf of the Society for the Prevention of Discount among the upper orders. The bishop who was present was much struck by some of the handlings I drew.
So he's asking like if you, which they don't know yet that Ernest Algernon has showed up. So he's come and said, my brother died in Paris and that's why I'm in mourning. And he's like, do you want me to talk about it at church next Sunday? And I don't know if you guys know the story of the manna in the wilderness, but basically it was like when Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, they were like starving. And then there was this like bread that fell down from heaven, and that's how they survive. So he's like, if I talk about that, I can make that fit any kind of occasion. So if you want me to talk about your brother, I can make that sad, basically.
That reminds me, you mentioned christenings. I think Dr. Chasuble, I suppose you know how to christen, all right? I mean, of course, you are continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most constant duties in this parish. I've often spoken to the poorest classes on the subject, but they do not seem to know what breath is. But is there any particular infant in whom you are interested? Miss Worthing, your brother was, I believe, unmarried, was he not?
Oh, yes.
People who will live entirely for pleasure usually are.
But it is not for any child, dear doctor. I am very fond of children. No, the fact is, I would like to be christened myself this afternoon if you have nothing better to do.
But surely, Miss Worthing, you have been Christian already.
And I don't know if any of you guys like do christenings. I think it's pretty much a Catholic thing at this point, but I don't actually know because I'm not Catholic. But
I will.
back then, is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yep. It was
Okay.
for me when I was a kid.
So it's like you get baptized and also they're like, this is officially your name now, right? Like you're a real person. Kind of. And like back then, at least it involved like making this actually your official name. And so you can be christened like later on, and he's wanting to be christened because he wants to change his name, but typically it's just for little babies. It is
I
weird.
don't remember anything about it.
But have you any grave doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. Of course, I don't know if the thing would bother you in any way, or if you think I am a little too old now.
Not at all. The sprinkling and indeed the immersion of adults is perfectly consumed
Canonical.
practice.
Immersion?
You have no oppressive sprinkling is all that is necessary, or indeed, I think that is advisable, or whether it's so changeable. At what hour would you wish the ceremony performed?
Oh, I might not trot around about 5 if that would suit you.
Perfectly. In fact, I have two similar ceremonies to perform at that night. In case of twins that occurred recently, and one of the outlying cottages
Cottages.
in your own estate. Boy Jenkins, the
Oh, I don't see much fun being christened along with other babies. It would be childish. What?
Yeah, literally.
5:30, dude?
Admirable, admirable. And now, dear Mr. Worthing, I will not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I will merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us bitter trials are often blessings in disguise. This seems to me a blessing of extremely obvious kind.
All right, that might be a good place to stop since we've got other characters coming in. The bell is ringing like 2 minutes early now, so we actually only have about 4 minutes left. Anybody have any questions about what's actually going on in this play? I know it's pretty convoluted. That's like one of the points of it. If y'all have ever read any Shakespeare other than what we've read together in class or that you read with Mr. Johnson, like mistaken identity or double identity is such a huge thing in Shakespeare. Like actually 12th Night, the one that my quote is from, it like people are swapping identities and genders and everything else. It's very, very confusing. So I feel like probably a lot of later playwrights wanted to kind of emulate that a little bit. But it was also just like a big thing at the time was like to make it funnier, basically, is to have these like confusing identities. And it is confusing because both of our main characters have their actual identities, and then they have characters named Ernest, and then they also have the Bunbury character. So there's a lot of like made up characters and people pretending to be people that they're not. So particularly when you are trying to like propose, like Jack's trying to propose to Gwendolyn and Cecily thinks that she likes Ernest. It's definitely ripe for hijinks. All right, I'll let you guys go because the bell's gonna ring in like a minute. We will do some stuff tomorrow. I can't remember what's on the docket, but definitely success session. But maybe another thing too. I can't remember. But we'll pick up with this on Thursday. See ya.